We don't read those nearly enough. It says, Jared Jackson makes such a great point today on TDR. Like violent cops not cut out for the job, healthcare professionals that don't trust a vaccine should seek other employment. They aren't good fits for the position. That is true.
Straight up.
Yeah, your whole thing is do no harm. I don't know much about doctors other than what I found out on House, but I do know the do no harm part. Anyway, we have only a few minutes remaining, so let's jump into this last story. We've got an update on a horrible story that happened outside of Houston, a seemingly semi-intentional car accident or truck accident where a truck ran over a number of different cyclists. And that's not the worst part about this necessarily. It was a 16-year-old driver, appeared to have been trying to roll coal on a group of cyclists training for the Ironman triathlon, according to one of the cyclists. So what is rolling coal? Well, you might not know if you live in a reasonable country. It's where you purposefully produce a bunch of black smoke to get a twofer. One, you help destroy the environment, and two, you're really an a-hole to people because you blow that on people's cars or bikes or whatever. So Chase Farrell is that cyclist, was a few paces behind the group when the driver blew thick black smoke on him. Moments later, the driver caught up to a larger group of cyclists and tried doing the same thing. But instead of blowing smoke on the group, he accelerated and slammed into 6 of the 8 cyclists. He stopped, got out, and surveyed the wreckage. By the time Farrell caught up, the teen driver said, "Do you think I'm going to jail?" There's wreckage of bodies and bikes, and he's thinking, "Do you think I'm gonna go?" This is one of the people he just abused. "Do you think I'm gonna go to jail?" Farrell told the teen, "Yeah, you did something really freaking stupid. You should go to jail." He said there was no reason for this to happen. It wasn't like he was on his phone. He definitely meant to try and scare these people or intimidate them in some way. Maybe then he made a mistake and ran them over. By the way, 4 of the 6 who were hit were hospitalized. 2 of those had to be airlifted because of the severity of their injuries. Within minutes, the teen's parents showed up. When the police arrived, he was questioned, but ultimately released from the scene without charges. And as of right now, authorities are tight-lipped about whether he will ever face any charges.
Weird how that justice system works here when it comes to things like this, but you know,
yeah, weird.
It's crazy. And by the way, this whole rolling coal thing, I remember seeing this before. You're supposed to just announce how much of an idiot you are to show everyone else, hey, I'm gonna blacken the sky with all of this pollution just because I'm cool. And then what? You go home and you feel good about yourself. What's the end game here again? For folks that are cycling, because you know, Americans against cycling, Americans against exercise. Is that where we're going? Because the point before was to make sure you blasted at Prius drivers or someone in an electric car because to show how much you don't agree. Okay, now it's just for cyclists because they decide to ride their bikes. This is fun.
Against athletes, I guess.
It's so, and of course, so as you see this, it must have been a youthful exuberance. Let's not arrest him. He's only 16 years old. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's pretty obvious he doesn't know what he's doing. That's why he asked one of the victims, "Hey, you think I'm gonna go to jail for assaulting you and trying to kill you?" I don't know. I guess it's a legitimate question because the cops don't know either.
Yeah, they can't figure it out. I mean, he only ran over 6 people while trying to intimidate them. Like if you tried to intimidate someone by holding a gun to their head and then accidentally pulled the trigger and shot them, oops, do you think I'm going to jail? Like, do this for any other form of intimidation. Like, I was trying to intimidate you with a bunch of my attack dogs, and then I accidentally let go and they mauled you to death. Do you think I'm going to jail? I don't know. I guess it matters. Are you a teen? Who's your parents? What race are you? We honestly don't know because the kid's identity is being hidden, but I feel like I could probably guess. Yeah, I guess like he had the truck, they were on bikes. This is Texas. Like if you have a state full of people who roll coal to like anger those environmentalists, are you sure that the cops don't side ideologically with the assaulter there? Anyway, we'll see. I'm hoping by us talking about this and others talking about this, that it'll become national news. I get that he's 16, but you definitely have to go to jail. You ran over people while trying to intimidate them. I don't trust you behind the wheel for the rest of your life if that's your decision-making process. But we'll see. It's America, it's Texas, so probably nothing will happen.
No, it won't.
Anyway, JR, unfortunately, that is all the Big News Wednesday we can fit into one Wednesday. It's actually going to be carrying over to Big News Thursday. Apologies that you won't be available for that, but thank you for joining us on today's show.
I may have to interrupt. I'm gonna jump in just and sabotage tomorrow.
Well, I mean, if there's a vote, I feel like you're going to want to talk about it. Anyway, have a good one, man.
Thank you, guys. See you.
See you later, everybody. I am going to be doing the main show with Anna Kasparian a little bit later on, the second hour, and so that should be a lot of fun. Go put in your questions on the community tab for the Tier 3 Q&A, and don't miss the conversation. Nina Turner, Jeremy Corbyn, it's gonna be awesome. You're not gonna wanna miss it. But until next time, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richard. Good to be with you. A lot on the agenda today. During the bullpen, I have Jen Sidorova, who is a commentator, Young Voices. We're gonna talk about booster shots, vaccine mandates, etc. Also, breaking down news of the day. Dina Doll, attorney at law, law and crime legal analyst, helping me navigate these stories. My top story for today: neighbors from hell. There's a black family who has been routinely harassed by their neighbors, according to the report. So much so that the neighbors are playing skits blasting it with the N-word, sounds of monkeys, blinking lights in their faces, and it goes on and on. Let me take you to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Martinez, who is black, says a neighbor's music, racial slurs, blinking lights, I want you to remember blinking lights, and monkey sounds have made her family's lives miserable. This is a black woman. According to Martinez, the harassment began with the blinking lights. It's important to remember that because I'm going to take you through what has happened in this case. We noticed a little erratic behavior like these blinking lights, once again, that are on a sensor. When my family or any other family leaves or returns to their homes, they all start to blink, Martinez says. When the sensors are activated, loud music begins to play. He switches the music based on the most recently, Martinez says, the music switched to monkey sounds. Let's show a picture generally of that neighborhood in Virginia, okay? A nice neighborhood, nice looking community. The community folks are standing with Miss Martinez and her family. My husband parked his truck on the street in front of his house, which is city property. And instead of music, he started playing monkey noises, Martinez said. Martinez says the neighbor plays the monkey noises whenever they arrive or depart their home. Wow, imagine leaving and coming back to that every single day. The family that is activating the music, we're talking about this neighbor with this ridiculous racist setup. Since that day, he's playing N-word skits that he found online. Martinez said he plays skits that say, and I quote, "Black people have nothing better to do but go to a comedy club on a Friday night." And, "Hey everyone, look, it's N-word guy." Everyone says, "Hi, N-word guy." This is what's blasting from their neighbor's home. Once again, happening right now, real life situation, still ongoing. The observed conduct has been reviewed with the city attorney for potential criminal sanctions. Now you would imagine something like this happening, of course, a violation of law, right? However, it was determined that the activity, though appalling, is not criminally actionable. That's according to the police department. They released a statement saying there's nothing they can do because it's not against the law. This family has also attempted to file a civil action to stop this ridiculous and adversarial and racist neighbor, and the courts told them this is outside of the boundaries of the court. Now, I did some research on this. I did some extensive research. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not giving legal advice, but I do want to bring your attention to what I have found in the municipal code of the city that they live in. Section 23-11-3, directing beam of laser, flashlight, or similar device into the eyes of another person, it shall be unlawful and a class 1 misdemeanor for any person to intentionally and without good cause direct the beam from a laser, flashlight, or similar device. Once again, they have established the neighbor is doing this already. Let me take you to section 23-63. Declaration of findings and policy. This was passed by the city council. The city council hereby finds and declares that excessive sound is a serious hazard to public health, welfare, peace and safety, and quality of life. That a substantial body of science and technology exists by which excessive sound may be substantially abated. That the people have a right to and should be ensured an environment free from excessive sound that may jeopardize the public health, welfare, peace, and safety, or degrade the quality of life. And that it is the policy of the city to prevent such excessive sound to the extent such action is not inconsistent with the citizens' First Amendment rights. That's Ordinance 3082. Those are your criminal ordinances. Let me take you to a civil case law statute in the state of Virginia. This was Virginian Railway versus London. This was a case decided by their court system. A private nuisance is the using or authorizing the use of one's property or anything under one's control so as to injuriously affect an owner or occupier of property by diminishing the value of that property or by continuously interfering with his power or control of or enjoyment of that property, or by causing material disturbance or annoyance to him in his use or occupation of that property. Now, damn it, if I can go online, read black letter law, case law, and research the city code of Virginia Beach, how in the hell is this neighbor still operating with 100% immunity? I got the perfect person. Dina Doll, tell me where I'm wrong at, because obviously they're right and I'm wrong somehow.
Well, first of all, this is an awful story. I can't imagine being that family and being tormented like that every single day. I actually was involved in a case that went viral a few years ago, the emoji house. I don't know if you heard of this, but it was a neighbor who painted their house hot pink with huge emojis, kind of bullying. Yeah, bullying the neighbor next door. And I helped that neighbor get involved and try to advocate to the city. And there also, the city didn't do anything because this First Amendment rights and the property rights of the owner is so strong in our country. These nuisance laws kind of balance the rights of, this man, as harassing as he is, doesn't leave his home, right? So we have this idea in America, we can do whatever we want inside the corners of our home and then balance it with the next door neighbors being able to enjoy their home. And that intersection is a little complicated, especially when you have to do with the fact that what he's doing is a free speech protected. But what I found being involved in that case was that the city is not going to get creative. The one thing the city is most afraid of is getting sued. They don't want to. I think you're right there that they could have done something under that code that you did. But a city isn't going to go out on a limb for any of the neighbors because they are most afraid of getting sued. And it was really frustrating trying to help someone in that case. And I imagine this family, whoever's trying to advocate them, how frustrating it is. I wish that the city would take at least a more vocal stance on this, even if they can't legally do something, maybe to at least say how morally wrong it is and how much they wish they can do something. I would think that the best case for them would be a private lawsuit, which it sounds like they tried to do. And the judge found that probably the First Amendment rights, which again, as awful as this is, he does have First Amendment protection. It's very hard to overcome somebody's First Amendment rights here. It sounds like the community was protesting. That's great. I would keep doing that. Make them have some consequence, even if it can't be legal, to hopefully have him, stop doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think you're right on the fact that the city prosecutor, they're not going to be creative with the application of the laws that are available. And there's already a court that has said, hey, we're looking at this case a little differently than maybe the state of Virginia. State of Virginia says by case law, this is a nuisance. It's settled case law from 1912. But this court looks at it differently, which by the way, is perfectly acceptable in the judiciary. You do not have consensus among judges many times, especially when you have courts of varying jurisdictions. Okay, there's a MAGA guy. He's walking around telling people, infect me with COVID-19. Yeah, that's what he wants, according to him. He wants to know where you can find COVID-19. This man has been unidentified, but we're gonna go ahead and make him very famous. He's wandering around public sidewalks in Greenville, South Carolina, asking strangers if they knew where he could find COVID-19. Let me take you to the video.
Fine, you're wearing a mask. You know where to find COVID? Please leave me alone. You know where to find COVID? You guys know where to find COVID? I'm looking for COVID. The COVID. Right here, bro. You got it? Can you give me some? Oh, I'm dying. us all not talk about it, lose our country. You do it all lying to us. I see what you found. You know what about the COVID? Yeah. You seen the COVID anywhere? You know where I can get it? I want to make sure it's real. This guy might know. Sir, you will find the COVID. No, I'll find it. It's the Delta variant. COVID. I'm looking for the COVID. No one can find the COVID. That's over there. Where?
It's invisible. You can't see it.
It's invisible.
Yeah.
It's a good one, right?
You can't see it, but you can feel it when it hits you.
Nah, I can't find it. Young man, you can find the COVID? I can't find the COVID. Man, you never find the COVID? Man, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We're gonna help this goofy individual find the COVID. Let's put a picture of him up so people can know what he looks like. This happened on September 27th. This was uploaded by Patriot Takes on Twitter. They are an organization dedicated to researching, monitoring, and exposing far-right disinformation. This currently unidentified man thought it was a good idea to make light of, joke about, to criticize, ridicule a very serious illness killing hundreds of thousands of people in this country and naturally beyond. The users responding to the video were able to confirm the location and also confirm that in that location, in that local area, their ICU beds overwhelmed because of COVID-19. North Carolina COVID-19 stats from September 25th provided by the state of South Carolina. The South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control on Friday reported 2,602 new confirmed COVID-19 cases. That was up from 2,202 the day before. The state also confirmed 111 additional COVID-related deaths. Now, if he's looking for COVID that bad, he can go where the data shows. At least 677,000 people have tested positive for COVID in South Carolina alone. Over 10,000 have died. This guy's making fun of it. At least 2,196 people in the state were reported hospitalized with COVID-19 as of Thursday, including 533 patients being tested in intensive care units and 369 on ventilators. Sir, if you're serious about catching COVID, if that's what you want to do with your life, hop your happy ass up in that hospital and you go there. You're making fun of something that's devastating to families, man. Put his picture up again. I have stats for days, but we all know it's killing, it's impacting. South Carolina's Children's Hospital Collaborative reported Wednesday that the state has 29 children hospitalized with COVID-19. In the last 2 weeks, the collaborative's highest reporting number of children hospitalized with COVID was 38 children. Okay, Ms. Doll, I know what this guy is doing is not against the law. But wow, this is how you want to utilize your freedom of speech.
Yeah, and also it seems like he's using it to promote himself because that camera following him looks like a professional camera. So that's like a whole other level of how horrible this is. But you know what? He's lucky because obviously he doesn't know somebody who passed away from COVID because he would never make light of this.
He would not do this.
Yeah, you know. I have a 36-year-old cousin who passed away with like a 4-month-old baby, you know, and it's tragic. And we all probably at this point know somebody who's passed away. So if that's happened to you, there's no way you'd be making a video, you'd be asking people like this. So he seems like he's one of the lucky ones who this hasn't touched yet.
And I don't wish this upon him or anybody, but it is likely that we will be reporting on him having COVID-19 in the near future. We have done it a bunch of times. It has happened right here, okay? Real unfortunate. There's an anti-mask guy, or really an anti-mask protest happening where they are harassing high school students. One guy rips the mask off of a high school student, and what does the student do? He decks him. okay? Now, usually, I would not condone violence, period. But this was self-defense, okay? This happened in Huntington Beach. Anti-maskers brought megaphones to scream to students coming out of school. And then this happened. Here it is.
When you define communism.
Communism.
Have you heard of
Communism. Communism. Wow. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, the indoctrination of our kids. They love communism. Wow, they hate freedom. Wow, dude. Look at all these communists. Wow, they've been indoctrinated.
Yeah. So in that final, he caught those hands. That's what happened. He went to a kid, he ripped the kid's mask off his face, and the kid swung at him. Good for the kid, because that was self-defense. These are grown people. These are grown men planning, coordinating, going to a high school in order to harass high school students. It's not like it just organically happened. They went there with the intent to mess with our babies. This is who they are. Have we heard anything from right-wing leaders about how atrocious this is? No. Nobody has said anything from the right about, hey guys, this has to stop. You're going too far. Where's the leadership? Where's the morality? Where's the ethics? You can disagree. We can have a good faith disagreement about mask mandates. I have them every day on this program virtually. But you can't come out against grown people going to high schools and physically assaulting children. Quite ironic. Let's put up the, I think this was a tweet. These creeps were outside of HBHS yelling at kids about wearing masks and making sheep noises. Attorney Doll, this is against the law. Why is it we don't have police presence? Why are we not hearing from police chiefs in these local jurisdictions, holding press conferences, saying you will not touch our children? Why have we not seen the same kind of response that we would have seen if let's say, Black Lives Matter were at these schools doing the same thing?
That's a very good question. And I find that we often kind of fail our children actually in this country. For whatever reason, we allow things to happen at schools, like the number of school shootings that happen. I think if that many school shootings happened at a baseball game, we really have figured that out really quickly. But we don't do that with children. Is it because they don't vote? I don't know. Wow. But it is really too bad, like you said, that there is not like a moral authority on the right saying you've crossed the line, because you absolutely have when you deal with a child like that.
Yeah, it's like they're racing to the bottom. Like there's nobody trying to be any type of moral authority whatsoever. Everybody literally is racing to the bottom of the moral and values ladder. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richey. We got a lot happening today. And what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize
demonize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that Black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger Black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was the white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.
I've been a fan of TYT, I believe, for the last 6 years.
5 years.
3 years now. 7 years.
4 years now.
2.5 years. I just started because she got me into it.
My boyfriend actually watches it every morning and every night, so I kind of just started watching it with him, and I love it. I mean, it's the only way that I find my news.
Looking through YouTube, looking for like, political shows that look cool.
I came across a very angry rant from Cenk, and that's when I knew.
So I was immediately in love with the show.
And then I haven't missed a live show since then.
10 times a day, I watched the show in the morning.
Whenever I had a bad day at high school, Young Turks.
Man, Cenk is just so blunt and honest, and I love the honesty, and there's no BS behind the news, and they just tell everything like it is.
There's nobody censoring them. There's nobody there to say, you can't do this, you can't say that.
That feel of authenticity makes it seem like what they're saying is true.
I feel like I get the real story from the Young Turks.
I am TYT.
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 Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot on the agenda still. Let me read some of the things I need you to pay attention to. Don't forget, Senator Nina Turner interviews Jeremy Corbyn on The Conversation. That's today, all right? That is today. Tune in at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, tyt.com/live. Now, here's a first, okay? And I need my indisputable team to have our back 100%. We have been nominated for Best TV Anchor, Indisputable, this show in Atlanta Magazine. But it takes you to vote, okay? This is Best TV Anchor, Atlanta Magazine's Best of Atlanta 2021. It recognizes what we do here on this show every day, bringing truth unapologetically, okay? This will be the first award of Indisputable if we're able to land it. And if this show has made a difference to you, if you enjoy the programming, all the hard work that the team puts into it every day, we want you to vote. Here's how you do it. Go to tyt.com/Rashad. tyt.com/RASHAD. Go there, type in the box my name, Rashad Richey. Make sure you spell it right. We don't want any problems, okay? Type my name in the box and submit your vote. You can vote once a day, maybe even more, but we know at least once a day. October 11th is the final day to vote, okay? So we want to make sure everyone is aware we're up for that award for this show, and I would love for you to have our backs, okay? Also, podcast, Indisputable Podcast. You can take us wherever you go. Acast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make that happen. It's been really cool seeing the various countries that download the podcast. So big ups to everyone listening to this show, all right? Let me read some of these comments. TYT member, Derek says, sounds like the city is protecting the status quo, racism, surprise. They're definitely not doing all they could do, for sure, right? Kelly O'Hara, my poet says, are you a performance artist or hopelessly obtuse? Like a little child chasing a wild goose? You wanna find COVID? Step right this way. Please close your eyes and mind the spray. I'm just playing, this is water, COVID is not. But when it gets you, I bet you wish you took your shots. Wow. Jorge, this guy is so ignorant that even COVID wants nothing to do with him. I don't know about that, brother. And notice how he isn't standing in front of a hospital to actually be in contact with COVID positive people. Exactly. YouTube, super chat, neighbor from hell. Leslie K says, bad neighbors are bad enough. Racist neighbors are a stain on society. That's right. Bubba Husky, there's just not enough rotten eggs or bags of dog poop in the world. Yeah. Tiger, I live in Virginia. 17 years ago, went to a metal concert. Some idiot there flashed an N-word, Nazi, okay, salute. And I yelled, YT power. It's racist here. Okay, regardless of party. Mega guy, Meanie 20202. He was too close. He was too close to some of those people. Something could have happened to him, for sure. Stoneflower Dragon. Why no one told him to go to a hospital? I know, that would have been my retort immediately. All right, Twitch. Rhino Lock says, they should throw the book at this racist neighbor, find all the ordinances they are violating and charge each of them, including harassment and other local laws. RC_Tycoon13, Doc, make sure to send this to the black family and or their lawyer. Already ahead of you. So as soon as we put this on YouTube, I'm sending it directly to the producer who did this story for CNN. So maybe they have direct contact, but thank you for that recommendation. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
The second-class citizenship in this.
Really? I don't think so. I didn't do anything to you.
Yeah, you did.
And you followed me all the way here?
Oh, go
all the way?
Viral. Go TikTok viral.
Please, you're a Karen, dude. Absolute Karen. I did nothing to you. No one cut you off. You're throwing racial slurs at me. I don't even know who you are.
You don't know.
First of all, you took the left of.
I don't know who the hell you think you are, but this is not how you conduct yourself in society.
Conduct who? Well, I did nothing to you. You chased me all the way from McDonald's. All the way here.
You got to get a life.
You harassed me.
And you
keep walking.
Over.
No one did anything to you.
Is the country, are we welfare all paying for your
Please?
Yeah?
Yes.
We're paying all your bills. I now know whereabouts you reside, so make sure you avoid me. And I'll
please.
Make sure I avoid you.
Oh, so please, don't worry.
Wait for me, and when you're dealing with someone with breasts and a vagina, treat them with some respect.
Excuse yourself.
This is the Western world.
I think you need a reality check.
No, I think you need a reality check.
The fact that you followed me, racially profiled me out of nowhere.
Oh God, you got it.
Please.
Go suck Meghan Markle with your woke.
Oh please.
You find me any man who can suffer in this world as much as the least suffering woman. You should apologize for the mother that gave birth to you.
Damn. You brought the man's mama into it? Now, this was quite extreme. The Karenicity runs very deep in this one. Now, naturally, this started because of what seems to be a traffic situation. Well, this Karen decided to follow this man. And once he realized this woman has followed him all the way to his home, he started recording. Well, she calls him a second-class citizen, makes insinuation about him being on welfare and that she somehow pays his bills. All of this is racially motivated for sure. And then she tries to change the argument. Now, this is something that many Karens, you have to be an advanced level Karen to do this. At the end of the argument, she then changes the argument into him attacking her because she's a woman. And inside of the context of that, she made it about the Western world. That was a new one. I had never seen that move before. Obviously, we are dealing with an advanced level Karen in this situation. This guy had no idea what he was coming against. Attorney, your thoughts?
Okay, you're right. She definitely, there was like a little pivot manipulation there. Okay, it's okay not to like each other, okay? Right. We're not all gonna get along, but she, but going where she goes is what's wrong, like making it about race, making it about somehow class, making it about this Western world, which could be code for like white supremacy, because I don't know if she's including Mexico in the Western world, right? Or Latin America. So, again, like it's hard to watch those kind of things because I just don't know why, personally, I don't know what really motivates somebody to talk down to somebody like that, other than I guess that's just who she is. But
yeah, I thought it was really interesting, attorney, when he said, "I don't know you," and she said, "You don't know me? Like, I'm Karen, damn it. How can you not know who I am?" Quite interesting. And naturally, we highlight Karens of the world because Karens, through this kind of Karenicity, can be very dangerous to the everyday citizen. I got something for you. Double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
You're still free! Back off! I'm gonna tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. I just mean I've done nothing wrong. Why? Let me get your camera!
And your nose bleeding. She getting arrested.
Yay! Jackpot! Young man, where you from?
The Bahamas. The Bahamas.
My number's 8751.
What you want me to do? Wipe your nose? She's a real soldier. Bombo clad dog. Let's go, bloody nose.
Can you call this Oh, you ain't got fun.
It's crazy. Look, you can kick him in the head. Oh, mate. Man, hey, bro, you picked the wrong job, soldier. You realize that?
No arrest for selfie.
Oh, now you under arrest and she getting away. Soldier, now she getting arrested.
Not me.
Oh, sake. This is crazy.
Okay, these are UK Karens. Listen, there's more. It gets even deeper. These UK Karens are at the City of Spice Indian restaurant. Here's the next video.
Look, see, say help her then. She just help you. Don't get caught. Oh my God, I want to run. Think she running. He going somewhere else. Look, he going to another scene. That dude got something else going on and you about to run. Go save your friend, innit? Oh, mate. Nah, oh, mate. Oh. Yeah, help your friend, dog. Them boys doing something else. Oh, now you. Oh, now you now. Oh, that's some G right there, G. That guy's scuffing the job. Oh, you gone.
Well, let me first say big ups to the narrator because without his commentary, I would have been completely lost about what's going on. This was in the UK. You saw everything just as I saw it, all right? Now, there's something you may have missed. When the cop came in with the low kick, can we play that? We got it in slow motion.
Yeah.
He actually kicked her out of her shoes. Now, he's under investigation for excessive force, okay? This is how it goes down in the UK. They fought the police. They were aggressive and violent. They made a scene in the restaurant. They still got apprehended. Nobody got shot. Nobody even got tased. Attorney, when I saw this, I said, okay, this cop is about to get really mad and start doing some very, very violent things. He's gonna end up pulling out a taser or physically being aggressive. I mean, what are your thoughts? It's a different situation.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, that it's so much more innocent. The fact that it was a kick that they're getting investigated for.
Yeah.
I lived in Spain for a time and I never felt safer. There's no guns around. People don't have guns, the police don't have guns. It's completely a different situation. And the police there behave differently because they don't think anybody has guns. They don't have guns. There's not this like violent expectation or mentality. It's too bad. We should be able to have that here, but we don't.
Yeah, and I think for us to really analyze how we got here in this country with the amount of violence we have, with the amount of crime, police misconduct, we have to look not only at the culture, but also the founding document. And until we're willing to challenge some of the principles of the founding document of this country, we will never get to a remedy of the new country we're trying to become. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
I'll predict right here for you, Chris. I think Donald Trump will leave office before his term is up. He'll be humiliated, embarrassed, and I know him. He's not gonna wanna lose, and he's gonna run for the hills.
You got that bet all day long.
Okay, let's get after it. Now, so look, Jake has made some good predictions, and this is in good fun. I could not disagree more.
There's a little bromance between the two of them. You got that bet all day long, Janky, you. Oh, you stop. In the meantime, let's call him out on the damage.
No, but
I just got a Roku set. Did basically a little bit of channel surfing, and I was like, there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. And then I turned it on, and it was John and Brett on Damage Report making fun of me.
Oh no.
So you are so busted. I even took a picture of it, okay? And they're talking about my predictions. I got a new prediction for you, John Idarola.
You're doing a show that's blowing the doors off everybody.
Young Turks is the largest online news network, not a big deal. We're gonna rock the boat. We're gonna be counter-establishment. We're gonna tell people the truth to the best of our abilities. We're so sick of this corruption. We're not the robots on TV. I actually care about the news. Guilty, I care. Fourth day on Occupy Wall Street. Last night we launched Wolfpack. It's us pushing our ideas out there, trying to help the country in every way that we can, trying to make this place just a little bit better. Reporting from the Hillary-Bernie debate. I gotta be honest, you know what we do, we cover it for real. For us, this system isn't working. Free and fair elections.
And when he told the cops that day, when they came to drag her away, and he said, if you're gonna chain her, you're gonna chain me. If you're gonna arrest her, you're gonna arrest me.
Hi, I'm Bartholomew Joseph Kyle. I do audio for the main show, The Young Turks. I also do audio for Post Game. I started in 2006. I met Cenk Uygur at the Iraq for Sale screening that was directed by Robert Greenwald. And watching that, I want to figure out a way to be part of something that's genuine and authentic.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of viewer comments. Let me remind you that Senator Nina Turner, her interview with Jeremy Corbyn on The Conversation that airs today. So make sure you check that out. That is an amazing and insightful interview. Real simple. Tune in at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time or 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Go to tyt.com/live. All right, tyt.com/live. And we have been nominated, indisputable, Best TV Anchor of 2021. You can vote on that. That's in Atlanta Magazine for their Best of series. It would be the first award for indisputable. If you like the programming, make sure you go vote, okay? Voting is very simple. Go to tyt.com/Rashad, tyt.com/RASHAD. You go there, you put my name in the box, Rashad Richey, and vote. You can vote at least once a day. We know that, okay? You can vote once a day. Voting stops October 11th. That's the date it stops. I would really appreciate all of us working together for that. And I'm very thankful for the entire team at Indisputable, all right? Okay, some of the comments. TYT member, Eric the Red. Did she just invoke Meghan Markle? Yes. Yes. And the way she said it, it wasn't her first time saying it. Colorado, a blue blazer regular. UK Karens get to shove a cop and live. Wow. Yep. Just be anti-racist. I fought the law and the law won. That's usually how it happens. YouTube super chat, racial profiling Karen. Mr. Rube Rubes Vitaloka. Maybe she should have a Happy Meal. Yeah. Selena Anthony. I've been around a few narcissists and see how well they manipulate by turning someone's own brain against themselves. They're horrible people. Yeah, I agree. Lisa T, I just got my Karen t-shirt. I can't wait to wear it. Wear it today. All right, thank you for that. UK Karens, Directive 4, American cops would have knocked her out by now. Yeah, Keith Weston, this dude on the camera has me laughing too hard. He was hilarious. Twitch, racial profiling Karen. Jax Drax, her mother should apologize for creating and raising a disgusting human being. Auntie_Faye, I can't be racist, I'm a woman. Yeah. UK Karens again. In the USA, they would have gotten shot for that. Yep. All right. Let me take you to Pinellas, Florida. A black woman who is a Navy veteran complying with police pulled out of the car anyway, okay? This is why people don't like the popo, because of petty garbage like this. Here's the video.
Heard. Let me put my car in park and let me get out the car. But I need y'all to step away from my car because I'm definitely intimidated.
This is your last chance to exit your vehicle.
I'm
not asking you.
But I just said that I'm stepping out of the car. Don't touch the car.
Listen.
Get out my car. I just asked you. I just said.
Okay, listen.
But I just said that I was stepping out of the car. So you putting your hands in my car is not the.
Have anything here?
Get off of me. Get off of me.
Relax.
Get off of me.
Look,
Why are you on me?
Relax.
But get off of me.
Relax.
Can you get the cars unlocked?
Get off of me. Get off of me. Get off of me. Get off of me. You're asking me to.
According to the person who posted this, all charges have been dropped after the video went viral. There is no word as far as actions against the police officers, but here's what's happening. When she says, get off of me, she's really saying, why are you trying to take my dignity? You see, the cops are doing this because they want to take her dignity. They want to put her down. They want to put her in her place. She is complying. And you see they're calm. They're initially saying, okay, But then when she says, listen, don't touch my car. I'm getting out of the car. Oh, how dare you? How dare you talk to a white man in authority like this? You're just a black woman. And that's when things change for them. And that's when they decided not to give this woman 5 seconds to simply do exactly what she told them she was going to do. I'm sure you see a lot of these cases, attorney.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, like you said, the absolute power struggle. Yeah. And what's coming to mind is that the Gabby Petito, we all see the footage of that police encounter. I don't know if you've seen it, but like the calmness there of the police officers in terms of, oh, can you maybe raise your shirt so we can see if you have a weapon? And they were dealing with a potential domestic violence situation there, so they were trying to keep things cool. But we know police officers can keep things cool. And here, like you said, the moment she's kind of says, like, I'm gonna come out, but I need my space. Like any kind of accommodation, they take it as an affront and they escalate the power that they have. There was 3 of them, and large males. She's rather petite and a female and by herself. And all I want to say again is, like, thank goodness she was recording it. Very smart on her part. It sounded like the situation changed when they saw that they were being recorded, which is too bad that that's the reality. But it gives us all a chance to see what happens often, which needs to change.
We've been fighting for years to make sure that police agencies have body cameras. And once we were able to make some movement on that, they put another trick in the game where they said, okay, we will give them body cameras, but we will not give them penalty if they fail to engage the body camera. And then when we said, okay, there's going to be penalty if they do not engage the body camera, then there's an appeal process with the Civil Review Board that says, no, you cannot use that as a basis for termination. So they put another trick in there. So what you see happening is every time we make one step forward, they seem to make 2 steps ahead of that one step. And we can't simply create a fair and just society where everybody is held to a standard of accountability to be fair to our fellow citizen. Why do you think this happened? Why is it that policing is like this in America? You've seen policing in other countries. I've seen it in other countries. Many of those countries, the police, they don't act like this.
Yeah, I mean, some would say that because of the racial beginnings of a lot of the police forces. Also, maybe because they have had guns. We've treated them, we've given them not only the power of the state, but given them lethal weapons, power to take life. And there's not, until recently, there hasn't been a lot of accountability. Like you said, not even body cameras, and even that has become fluctuated. So there's not been a lot of checks on what was really an enormous amount of power that we as a state handed to people. And that reckoning is probably gonna take a long time because we don't wanna necessarily get rid of that. And so to create a system that is doing both what we want, again, being protected by the police and from the police is going to take a while.
I spoke to a conference not too long ago. It was actually a sheriff's conference. And I don't know why the hell they invited me to speak at this conference, but I was happy to show up. And this was in reference to criminal justice reform. And everybody was talking about we need to fix the system, And when I got up to do my address, I said, first of all, you don't need to fix the system, you need to break it. Because the same badge that these sheriffs are wearing, it was like 100 sheriffs behind me, elected sheriffs. I said that badge is very similar to the slave patrol badge, which was really your first onset of massive law enforcement in the South. And their job was to protect property and protect white men. Now, you're not trying to fix that system, you're trying to break it. Because there is something fundamentally wrong with everything that comes from that system. And you cannot dismiss the fact that early law enforcement was not for the enforcement of laws that gave a damn about black folk, brown folk, women, or disenfranchised people. And that is still the same foundation that all of law enforcement in America rests upon. And until you dismiss that foundation, you will always have these institutional biases permeating throughout its ranks. All right, there's another story. This was really wild. A guy is a security guard at a mall, had been convicted of killing cats and putting the cats in his freezer. But he was given a job at a mall. He ends up having an encounter with two women. He pulls out a knife on them. Also says he has a gun in the video. This happened in Ohio. Ohio security guard, previously convicted of animal cruelty, was recorded on video pulling a knife on two women, exploring a nearby empty mall lot, all right? Let's put up the picture of this guy. His name is Edmund Cunningham, all right? Mary Chambers and a friend went to explore the mostly empty Forest Fair Village Mall in Forest Park, where they apparently angered a security guard by taking photos of the dormant retail spaces. The women recorded their encounter with a security guard who was previously convicted on animal cruelty charges in 2018 after Middletown police said he admitted to killing 8 kittens and putting them in his freezer. Boils my blood. For years, I rescued cats personally. And for someone who does that, either one or two things are happening. You have extreme mental health issues or you are psychotic, okay? The women tell Cunningham they're not doing anything wrong and ask him, get away from the car. I'll crush that effing phone out of your hands. That's what the security guard says. Cunningham, who was later charged with aggravated menacing, told the police that his paranoia resurfaced after running out of medication, and he claimed that the knife was not real and only for training purposes. None of that has been confirmed. This was just part of what he said. But there's a question. The young lady said, why was he a security guard? Why was he employed there? They know he had done, they have to know what he had done in his past. Help me out here, attorney. Being a security guard is still a position of public trust. You're not law enforcement, but you're definitely in a position of authority. And typically you would be a position of authority as it relates to those who interact with that property. So why would they hire someone who has a criminal history of killing cats?
Yeah, it's really unclear. I mean, in terms of being a security guard, there's different levels that you have to kind of pass clearance. If you have a gun, for instance, you have to pass a higher clearance. He didn't have that. Also, I know in California, you can kind of rehabilitate yourself if you've been convicted of a crime in order to qualify as a security guard. I'm not quite sure about Ohio, but looking at him, I don't even know if he's an official security guard. He actually just has like a t-shirt. He doesn't have a badge. He doesn't have any kind of like official. He may not be officially licensed. It may be that they just hired him to kind of act as one, but he's not, didn't go through the proper channels. I mean, I think that mall is very lucky he didn't actually do anything, because they would definitely be liable for hiring somebody in this position with his background if he did harm anyone, because obviously they didn't do their due diligence with him.
Yeah, so you're saying that he's top flight security. Now that comes from a movie, one of my favorite movies on the planet, Friday. But the issue is this guy did in fact have a weapon. I mean, he can say, the weapon was used for training, but he did have a weapon. He actually said he had a gun. Now, we don't see a gun here, but he said he had one. Could this be a claim, maybe not premises liability, but definitely negligent hire, even with emotional distress? What could this person do or these women do to hold accountable the individuals or the company that hired them?
Yeah, I do think that there could be a negligent claim. It's a little bit unclear though whether or not they were trespassing at all. I don't know if there were any trespass signs in terms of how close if they went inside to take the pictures, because then you do have a little bit of, then there's like apportionment liability, and they may have some part of it if they were trespassing. And whether or not he had the knife, if the company knew he had the knife, that could also go into whether or not there was negligence. But absolutely, the fact that he was already convicted of this animal cruelty, and a basic due diligence would have seen that on his record, and hiring in a position where he has to interact with the public, I think would open them up to some sort of negligent claim.
Attorney Doll, always a pleasure having you on Indisputable. Tell people how they can follow you and check out what you do.
I'm at Ask Dina Doll 1 on Twitter.
Thank you so much. All right, until next time.
Good to see you.
Same here. We got more. Stick and stay. It's Indisputable.
You know, old school's pitched to me from Cenk. It'll just be me, you, Jesus, Ben, and maybe Michael. And we're like, okay, cool. I can do that every week. As you can see, me, Jesus, Ben.
When you make the order, it says, don't exceed $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can.
I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, sir, would you like to rethink that? What are you talking about?
I was in hell. I was just like, oh my God, the theater's empty, nobody's here. Everyone on screen keeps fucking cursing. Why did I let this happen? And the whole thing looks like it was shot through a glass of milk. My mom's gonna be so mad.
If you're looking for a heart attack, the short way, baby.
Wrong. I did put mayonnaise on it. I'm the most in shape, overweight person you'll find.
That's right.
He was like, why didn't you answer my call? I called you 39 times.
Yuck. But what makes you stop right before 40? What makes you say, nah, man, I ain't doing that no more. I'm cool.
And I called you back on the air. And I was like, okay, Kevin Smith, big shot. What the you said you'd come on and you didn't come on.
I'm sure I took that very well.
Yeah, you did. You called me back the next day and said, I thought it was 7 a.m. And there's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
Heard of it? I just had some in the car.
I'll tell you who I'm not Ben Mankiewicz. Have you guys ever felt that?
Not ever.
And now it's just the three of us.
This is the intimate hour.
By the way, the last half hour of this, we're not even rolling.
Fair enough.
Hey, man.
Kingsley.
See, I watch movies.
I'm done with both of you.
Once Greg starts laughing, I can't stop. And I was just gonna ask you about getting high.
Snoogans, Snoochie Boochies, and members, of course, you can get the whole damn thing. TYT.com, join and free trial. I'm old school with the old folks.
Good.
John, come back.
Field goal here. It's time to switch to music.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like...
Oh. No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh. Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
I'm Brett. I would like to refer to this segment as the Do I Still Have This Talent show. So I want to see if I can play harmonica without my hands. I don't know why I have that. Nothing's gonna be more impressive than that. I can also spin a basketball on my finger. While drinking? While drinking. I'm gonna spin a basketball on my finger while drinking apple juice. You can do this, dude. It's also flat. I don't know if that helps or hurts. And it seems to be somewhat wobbly. Ta-da! Nope, I don't know how to do this one. This one's a fail. Nope. Oh God, I'm so mad.
All right, welcome back. We have a lot of viewer comments. I will read as many as I can. And don't forget, Senator Nina Turner today, Jeremy Corbyn, that's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time is going down. TYT.com/live, okay? TYT.com/live. Okay, also, there's a nomination. I've been nominated for Best TV Anchor in Atlanta Magazine's Best of 2021. If you would like to vote on that, you can do so. I would highly appreciate it and very thankful in advance, okay? It is simple. Go to tyt.com/Rashad, tyt.com/Rashad. You can type my name in the box, Rashad Ritchie, and submit. You can vote once a day until October 11th, all right? Thank you so much. Also, the podcast available wherever you get your podcast from. Acast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever. All right, make sure you carry us with you on the go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bullpen. In the Bullpen today, we have Jen Sidorova, commentator, Young Voices, also currently a policy analyst at the Pension Integrity Project of the Reason Foundation. She has a long, extensive, very impressive background and resume. Thank you for joining us on Indisputable.
Hi, Dr. Ritchie, good to be here.
Absolutely. I don't want to presume what you know or believe about some of these topics, but we are going to chop it up about vaccine mandates and possibly even get into the booster shot regimen, which is now coming onto the scene in America. Other places already had it. So what are your sentiments about vaccine protocols in the country?
I am worried about vaccine mandates and the booster shots. Vaccine mandates practically for a few reasons. One is that there's different vaccination rates between different socioeconomic groups, and it will limit some people's participation in the economy, and we certainly do not want that. And implementation of the mandate through electronic passport of any kind is a privacy issue, and we kind of don't have technology or the laws right now in this country for that. And there's also no law or instrument to enforce any of those mandates. So after all, it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. So if people don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And as far as the booster shots, my main concern is that there's just not enough good data for that I would find trustworthy. And there's also no really evidence that the booster would do anything in addition to the vaccination already does.
Okay, so there are a few things that I would like to respond to. Let me first start by talking about vaccination mandates, as you call them. There are some mandates for those who work in the healthcare profession, but that has even been supported by Republicans. They understand why, if you work in healthcare, you need a vaccination. As far as the Joe Biden executive order, which is really the massive thing that people talk about, is actually not a mandate. It requires that if you have a company that has 100 employees or more, there is a COVID-19 protocol, but it is not a COVID-19 vaccination mandate. And that protocol says you can either get the shot or not get the shot. And if you do not get the shot, you then have to submit to a test once every 7 days. I do add this caveat. The federal government, if there's a real cost involved of these companies, the federal government should subsidize that cost. That's the one caveat that I would add to that directive. But it is not a mandate, and OSHA is the regulatory agency that oversees this particular protocol. Once again, not a COVID vaccine mandate. It is a protocol. OSHA exists by way of the Commerce Clause of the US Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, which allows for Congress to create regulatory agencies to enact something we call administrative law. This was settled in 1970. It is settled case law in the US Supreme Court. So there's no constitutional issue. They are within their constitutional authority. They're within their statutory limitations to enact this administrative law. So when people say, okay, here's my problem with vaccine mandates, it's unconstitutional or it's an intrusion, well, not based on existing case law, not based on the Constitution, and not based on the administrative law abilities of OSHA. And also, all 50 states in the United States of America, they already have a vaccine mandate protocol. That's an actual mandate. If you go to a public school, 100% of public schools, they require a vaccination regimen. 92+% of private schools require a vaccination regimen in order for you to attend that institution. And the vast majority of US colleges also require that you have vaccinations in order to attend. And the federal government has had this as a long-standing policy as far as travel. You must have, if you come from some certain regions, you got to have certain vaccinations to come to this country. Already a mandate, already statutory, already federal law. The US military, for decades, they've had to submit to various vaccination mandates in order to serve in the US military. It is settled, it is not a constitutional intrusion because you have the right not to have that job. So what do you say to those mandates, protocols that already exist?
Well, I would say that there's a concern of expansion this into something like electronic passport. And although, yes, we already have some sort of requirements for, like you mentioned, colleges to have vaccinations, there's not yet a requirement for those colleges to have the COVID-19 vaccination. As a matter of fact, since you're bringing up colleges, right now I'm attending a large public school where there isn't really a mandate on masks or a mandate on vaccination, but what they do is they encourage that, right? And they give, they make some sort of programs and things like that, which work. And truly, like as far as the vaccine itself, I am vaccinated, half of my family is vaccinated, and everybody had good outcomes. So that's a separate conversation. But in the college that I'm attending right now, although we're not required to wear masks, some professors do ask that and they give a reason, and all 100% of students do respect that. So
well, that's a mask mandate.
There's not a mask mandate. There's just, they give you a reason, that's why, but you don't have to do that.
A professor, and this is going through the court system with a couple of colleges now. I'm a professor myself. Professors have a lot of advantages in that classroom. And many of these rights that a professor has in the classroom, they were codified by the American Association of University Professors, which basically is an advocacy group to make sure that we as professors, we're not told how to teach curriculum. We're not told what we can do in the classroom or limitations and all of this bureaucratic stuff. We are able to freely teach, right? So when you look at what these colleges have done, and I want to correct you on one thing. Some colleges are mandating COVID vaccinations. John Marshall Law School and a few others have mandated that you have the vaccination to attend the college. But most of them, they do not have a mandate, they do have a protocol. The issue, I think, comes down to safety. So you have admitted you got the vaccine, your family has the vaccine, right?
Not all of my family has a vaccine. Some people in my family do not have it, and I respect that because I think if you're afraid, it's your body. It's basically the autonomy over your body. And we have multiple populations in the United States, like Puerto Ricans, who have this history with being experimented on for early forms of birth control, and a lot of people went sterile. And we have immigrants coming from all sorts of countries like Soviet Union, where they would actually, back in the day, line up kids and force vaccinate them without asking for any consent from their parents, and we don't want that around here.
We don't want that, and the Black community has had a similar history with this government, with Tuskegee experiments and a few others. All right, so that creates vaccine hesitancy. But the data shows that only 7% of Black America are never vaxxers. The number one group of never vaxxers are actually white male Republicans. So what you see in the Black community is one, hesitation. Two, something we call millennial invincibility, just thinking, it can never happen to you. And then three, lack of access to proper, good, solid information about the actual vaccine. And that's because of healthcare disparities. And then four, we tend to have more frontline and what they call essential jobs in America. So a lot of Black folks have essential jobs, but they're not getting essential pay. So you have all of this working in that community. So I definitely get where you're coming from. But I want to go back to the dynamic of what you call a mandate. So it's not really a mandate, right?
Well, the thing is, let's see what the implications of this executive order has already done, right? So in places like New York, and that's where I'm from, right? Let's just see let's look at what I see happening. We have in New York City, you cannot go to a restaurant if you're not vaccinated. You cannot, I'm living in Buffalo right now, you cannot go to a Bills game without being vaccinated. And we have smaller communities in Alden and Bradford, right near Buffalo, where about 200 medical workers are about to walk out. And we're gonna have those already underserved communities, small towns, that are not gonna have doctors. So we have this situation where some are where it already has been all along, but some, I'm sure, only became scared and afraid because the way we rolled out this introduction of the vaccine very early on. And I think this is a problem of the administration, of how this whole vaccination was rolled out and how they rushed some of the vaccination passports in places like New York and California, all of that. That undermined our belief in that the vaccine works. And this is the problem. And these further mandates, they freak people out even more. And this is my concern with that. It's not that I don't believe in the vaccination. I believe that people, if they think it's right for them, they should vaccinate. If they don't, they don't. But
that's what's happening. I don't see how that has been taken away from anybody. The majority of Americans already have at least one shot. Many of them are getting their second, but it's the majority, right? The last CNN poll had it at 73%. That may have increased since that CNN poll. So, and 400,000 folks got the booster shot, right? So, I mean, those numbers are working in a direction that's opposite of your point of view, which is fine. We're in America, we can disagree and we can have thoughtful exchange about different ideas. But when you talk about these privileges, these opportunities, like going to a game or going to a particular restaurant, these are not rights. You don't have the right to go to a restaurant, just like you don't have the right to drive, right? In order to drive, driving is a privilege. And in order for you to exercise that privilege, you must have a license. And then you have to exercise that privilege within the confines of the law. You got to wear a seatbelt. You got to do some things that some people would consider to be intrusive. But we don't have a problem with seatbelt laws. We don't have a problem with getting a license in order to operate a dangerous vehicle. But we want people to walk around with COVID without, and businesses not being able to regulate that. I don't understand. If you can regulate in your company, no shoes, no shirt, no service, why can't you regulate no mask, no service, or no vaccine, no service? You are a private business owner. Tell me what the issue is here.
The issue is here that this slows down the economy. In places that are encouraging mandates, basically like New York State and California, there is going to be a slowdown because although that's not a right, ultimately, if you don't have people attending those games or businesses or whatever, you will see the slowdown and you will see people leaving to places like they don't have it. Like everybody from New York is going to Florida.
But what if the business owners are the ones saying, listen, we don't want to risk liability, death, disease compromise for the sake of accepting anyone and everyone without a mask or any kind of vaccine or COVID protocol. The private sector is making this decision to say, here's how we would like to do this based on a public health crisis. Why is it that conservatives who would normally be on the side of business rights all of a sudden opposite of those businesses enforcing what they constitutionally and by settled Supreme Court case law have the right to do?
I don't speak for all the conservatives, and this is not my interest here. But what I would like to say is in places like New York City, this was the government who ultimately mandated that, right? So it was not a choice of any business. And yes, some businesses, sure, if they have some sort of procedure that everybody is either testing or has to have the vaccine, and then some people are gonna like it. Some people are gonna legitimately prefer places like that. It's up to them. But when the government does this sort of overreach, they say, okay, you're not going to be allowed in a restaurant in New York City whatsoever at all. It doesn't depend. No business voted for that.
Well, they can sit
businesses
outside
are
if
against
the
that.
restaurant has a patio outside. They're able to still patronize the business outside. But what about healthcare workers? Because it seems like people have been out of shape about healthcare workers, and some hospitals have mandated. Now that's a real mandate. Some hospitals have mandated that they receive the vaccination. But healthcare workers, they already have a vaccination requirement. So they are required by that administrative rule or that policy with that particular hospital to have a certain regimen of vaccinations. Why is it a problem now?
Again, similar situation. If it is required by the place of your employment, this is different from the government.
So you're okay with that? You're okay with hospitals enforcing a policy that says our nurses, our doctors, our support staff, they need to have this additional vaccination to their existing regimen. You're okay with that?
I think businesses and the government should let people do with their body whatever they want. With that said, what this is doing right now, what the executive order, what this conversation has been about, is the expansion of the government controlling the people's rights to whatever they want to put in their body, and then ultimately pushing is everything to electronic passport that has a whole slew of issues. And
okay,
right now,
I do want you to answer that question. I got to go back to that question because I don't think you answered it. Are you okay with private hospitals enforcing their own administrative policy as they have been able to do for over 100 years, enforcing their own administrative policies as it relates to vaccines or the vaccination of their workers?
Whatever has been their practice before shouldn't really change depending on what the government is doing right now.
Okay,
right?
So you agree that these hospitals are within their rights to say, hey, in order to work here, this is the additional vaccination we're going to require now.
The thing is, the vaccinations that they require right now has been there for a while. We have trust in them. Whatever has been rolled out a year ago, they don't have trust in them. So I do leave it to the people who work there. They have the right to quit if they don't want to, but it's up to them, up to the people. I don't ultimately believe this is a good outcome for the economy or for the people, for those businesses to mandate that. for the issues that I've already mentioned.
You're making an economic argument, I'm making a human infrastructure argument. And when you look at the science, because I hear people keep saying, oh, well, it's because the virus is new. Well, one, the ingredients of this virus, for lack of a better word, have been studied and actually used in clinical trials for over 20 years. Actually, you have more testing of these ingredients than you have for the polio vaccine, and you did not have nearly as many scientists, clinical trials, as well as money put behind those vaccines as you have had with these COVID vaccines. So in a way, these COVID vaccines have more clinical trials, they are more tested, more thoroughly analyzed, more thoroughly peer-reviewed research than even the vaccines that we take or give to school children to enter into a K through 12 campus. I think you already know that.
Right, exactly. This information should be enough for people to make a decision, right? If the vaccine is really that great, they should be able to go and take it. We shouldn't be really convincing them. So we have enough information here. We don't need an extra step and mandate or executive order or any sort of mechanism of control over the individuals and their bodies for them to do what they should technically already know and be informed in this age of digitalization about the vaccine, right?
Why do you think the federal government, well, let's say that about the military. Why do you think the federal government requires the military to have a vaccination regimen? Sometimes, depending on deployment, they have to take up to 20 vaccinations. Tell me why they don't just leave it up to the military servicemen. I
do believe it's in the contract. They're basically a piece of federal property at the moment when they sign up.
I'm glad you said that, because any work contract also says that they're able to enforce these policies.
Say it again, I missed that.
Work contracts are very similar, that they can enforce various policies, and the statute of these states are able to protect them in the enforcement of those policies. So if you're looking for paperwork, there's plenty of paperwork that supports the businesses who say wear a mask or adhere to this COVID vaccine protocol.
There is only two types of individuals there has been a precedent for them having to do any sort of vaccination like that. These are basically the immigrants while they go through the process of naturalization, military, as you mentioned, and then usually the schools have had a history of vaccination requirement, but that you could get out of depending on, certain people would get a waiver. Right, so with expanding this to businesses and everything else, we're setting a precedent, and this can later be used for something else, for requiring either through electronic vaccine passport, data on the people, or storing that data. We don't have that technology right now. We don't even have privacy laws set up across the nation, and they're different throughout the states, which brings up a whole different aspect of the problem that we're discussing right now, which is how you're going to store this data, how you're going to manage this whole situation.
Is your fear, because I hear a lot of whataboutism, is your fear mainly about what could potentially happen with this direction that the country is going in? Is that what I'm hearing?
There is definitely an aspect of it creating a precedent for it going forward. And there's also a different concern of mine is the situation with the booster. Right now, we don't have any data that proves that the booster is going to do anything more that the vaccine does already. And we're still pushing this forward. So this pandemic is being used to push other agendas, and that's a great concern of mine.
Let me correct you on the data. We do have clinical trials with the booster. Actually, I think Israel jumped the gun. They're on their third one now.
I have a problem with the data, how that data was analyzed, and the fact that it only came from Pfizer. It was not in any sort of randomized experiment. It was just data as it came around, which undermines the validity of it.
My point
and we never ran our own. We never ran our own experiments, and we in this country have the resource to do this. And
right, I'm glad you do know that information, because when you say that there's no data, that's not correct. Now, you don't have to trust the data, obviously, but you cannot say there's an absence of data as it relates to the booster shots and clinical trials, and some are ongoing with inconclusive or no results yet to be rendered. And then even after that happens, it does need to be peer reviewed in order for it to be published to the general public.
Right. So we don't have that. We don't have legitimate data that's peer reviewed.
All right. Here's what we do know: the virus itself, your immunity to it actually downgrades over time. We know that. That's a fact. We understand that. We don't understand it fully, but we know that it is not a replicator, or the immunity does not replicate like some of these other antibodies that you would have. Well, that means that you would need a booster shot. In a very similar way, you have variants like the flu vaccine every year. Well, that's a variation, right? And they try to get it as closely matched as possible, but it's not a mandate that you get the flu shot, but it's definitely a good idea for those that work around a lot of people. Go ahead.
So the whole point of the vaccine wasn't to eradicate the coronavirus completely. This is never going to happen, right? It's a virus. It just doesn't work like that. So the whole point was to get vaccinated so the hospitals are not overwhelmed. People don't get as sick. So this already, if the vaccine accomplishes that, why do we need a booster? Like there is no point in this
the science is saying. I'm glad you posed that question. Yeah. The science is saying, and there's a guy, and I was reading some of his work earlier today. Let me just bring him to your attention so you can research him when you get a moment. Dr. Adam, and this is and Dr. Shaw as well from Yale Medicine. They have come out and said, listen, here's what we know. It downgrades significantly, talking about your immunity or your antibodies, but we don't know how far it downgrades over time because everything is still being learned in real time, the field of science, which is really the field of observation. So they know that it decreases significantly, but they don't know how far that decrease goes. They have better data in a few months. But listen, I appreciate your point of view. I will always fight to make sure you have the opportunity and right to say exactly what you choose to say in a forum just like this. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget Senator Nina Turner interview with Mr. Jeremy Corbyn. That's on The Conversation, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Go to tyt.com/live. And also, don't forget, you can vote. You can vote on this show being the best Atlanta Magazine nominated, indisputable, best TV anchor. All you got to do is go to tyt.com/Rashad and just follow that, all right? Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.